Hi, this is video is going to be basically a retake of an older video I did, which I've got up here, which was modelling a water tank. There are some issues with this particular model, not least of which this end piece here, in fact this is the main issue, is because of the way I did the original tutorial. While the rest of this beam here is connected directly to the mesh, this bit isn't, simply because it would involve rebuilding all of this, and at the time I didn't know how to get that into a smooth shape. So knowing a little bit more about Blender now, and because someone actually requested me redoing it, showing what keystrokes I used and explaining a bit of how I was doing it, I just thought I'd retackle it. So I'm going to start off, and we're just going to start off with a cube this time rather than a cylinder. Now what I'm going to do excuse me, what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to do it using purely native Blender stuff, and then I'm going to do it using some add-ons. Now the only non-native add-on that I use in this, though I will sort of show the basic one, is a thing called Snapping Pies, which is a free add-on, and it just gives you basically different snapping features when you do a Shift S. Likewise, if you're in edit mode, the key thing I use it for is this here, that if I select that and do Shift S, just then with one click I can make that the origin, as opposed to having to click that, move the cursor to it, come into object mode and then set the origin to match the cursor. It does all that behind the scenes for me and then restores the cursor to its original position. So I use it for that, one of the main reasons I use it. So here we go. So first thing we want to do is subdivide this. You can just go in, you can add a modifier, subdivision surface, and set it to 3, which 3 or 4 depending on the level of sort of detail you want. 4, obviously you get a finer result, or if the alternative is just hold Control and press 3, and that will give you the same result. Now to make this a proper ball, you add a second modifier. This is the key one, the cast modifier. As a sphere, set the factor to 1. If you set it over 1, things get a bit weird, so set it to 1, and then basically you can either apply all modifiers if you've got the modifier utilities active, or in this viewport with the item selected, Control A, visual geometry to mesh, which basically applies all the modifiers. Right, and this is what we're going to use. Going to edit mode, 3 for side view, 5 so I'm in orthographic. I always prefer to work in orthographic. Gonna click on the alt click to select an edge loop, delete those faces. Hover over there, press L and delete those faces. A to select everything, GY, move it over here. Go to select, loops, boundary loop. I have that assigned to a hotkey, so because I use it a lot, so I can just do a shift. I can do it in one click. I can just do that. Shift quote is what I've got it assigned to. Then I can extend that on the Y axis. I press the Y there, it's not showing up in the keys, and that means no matter what I do with my mouse, it's only going the Y. Make sure that you drag it beyond the pivot point, and then what we can do is go into that view. We can do Shift Z to go into wireframe, choose face mode, or press 3 on the keyboard. It's the same thing. B for box select, select that. Scale, press Y to lock it to the Y axis. Do that. Now select everything, go to mesh and symmetrize, and on the symmetry change it from Y negative to Y positive, and that's the start. Shift Z again to go into there. That's the start of your thing. Now what I then do is I click on that, alt click. That's a machine tool, but alt click should work. If not, select that and go select loops, edge loops, and do Control X to dissolve it. Then I do Control R, and the reason I use this is it's less keystrokes. Like that. I can then sort of scale them in on the Y. Then I can Control B to bevel them to about there. Right, I'm happy with that. 1 for front view. This is 1 on the keypad, by the way. You've got 3 on the keypad, 1 on the keypad, 7 on the keypad. So I want 1. Again, Shift Z to go into wireframe. Go back to face view. Do a B, but hold the middle mouse button down and drag to just below the center line and let go. And that means you've deselected the top bit. Extrude, and that goes down on the Z. I'll turn that off. I had it on snap. Right, GZ to just move it up. Then scale S, pressing Z. It doesn't show up there, but you can see it's locked on the Z axis. Press 0 and hit return. Press Shift Z again. They're still selected. Now with them still selected in face view, press H to hide them. I'm going to be using them later, and it also means this next step is easier if they're hidden. So I'm holding Alt, clicking on there, Shift Alt click, Shift Alt click, Shift Alt click. Then I'm going to do Alt E to extrude and select along normals. Start out, hold the Alt key down, and that locks in the even thickness, like that. So that's that done. You can see how quick this is. Go into edge mode, select that again, select edge loop. Now you see that now stops there. So what you can do is hold down Shift, click that edge, hold down Control, click this edge. Do the same here, hold down Shift, click that edge, hold down Control, click that edge. You've now got all of those selected. Control B, like that. Alt E again. Hold down the Alt key. And as you can see, this now has a nice even thing and everything's connected. Right, so press Alt A. Now do Alt H, choose faces. It's not selected it, so select that, do a Shift G, coplanar. And what we can do is we can add a vertex group for this, so we can call upon them later. If you don't want to use the select coplanar, just click there and assign. Now if I just select them, it'll select that. And I'm going to use that to set the origin later. Right, go up here and select sharp edges. Oh, that's not right, that shouldn't have been selected, sharp edges. Sorry, make sure you're edge mode. Don't be in face mode, edge mode. Now select sharp faces, sharp edges, that's better. Then go end, call up your numeric panel, go to item, set your edge data, bevel weight increase to 1. and do a Control E and mark sharp. Go into object mode, right mouse button, shade smooth. Come down here in the object data, under normals, activate auto smooth. As you can see, that's not exactly right, and all we have to do to fix that is go in, again select everything, go select, and now again mesh, symmetrize, y minus to y plus, back into, and there's your full thing done. Then if you wanted to, you can add in a modifier for bevel, make that, I don't know, about 6mm say, and set your shading to harden normals. And there's your water tank. Now we want to put the origin here, so we go in, deselect everything with Alt A, select that. Now in native Blender there you do Shift S, snap the cursor to selected, go into object mode and set your object origin via the mesh. So we'll do it that way first. Snap cursor to selected, go into object mode, object, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. It's not done that. Try again. Select object, set origin to 3D cursor. That's better. Now Shift S, snap, oh I think it's C, is it Shift C? Yeah, Shift C puts the cursor back at the world view, and then Shift S and snap selected to cursor. And that's how you do it in native Blender. Just move that along the x-axis for a bit. Now we're going to do the same, but I'm going to utilize the add-ons. The add-ons I use are Hardops and Mesh Machine for symmetrizing. So here we go, same thing. First of all, add a cube. And I'm just going to start using Hardops, Mesh Tools, Sphere Cast. Control A, Visual Geometry to Mesh, Edit Mode, Side View. Face Mode with 3, go in, Alt click, delete faces, L, delete faces, GY, select boundary loop, EY. And now with Mesh Machine I can Alt X and just swipe my mouse. Shift Z, scale Y. And unlike Symmetrize, it doesn't really matter if I'm using the selected or not. So there's that. Control X. And the rest of it from here on in is the same really. Scale on the Y, Control B, face, Shift Z, 3, B, EZ, scales at 0. I'm just going to assign that straight away to a vertex group, hide them. Alt E, extrude along normals. There we go. Right, Control B. Alt E. Q. Sharpen. Hue, bevel, shading, harden normals, go back in, Alt A, Alt H, yeah, we've got some additional points there we don't want, so I'm just going to deselect them, Shift S, origin to selection, Shift S4, and there's the other one. You can see how much quicker that was. Using the thing. And if you decide you do want to change the position of these, the easiest way is again go into Edit View, deselect everything, box select, say one of them, GY, move it along a bit. So you want to bring that to there, Alt A, box select, GY, move that to there, and just, you've got a different thing. And if you want to scale those so they're thicker, now you can either Shift Z for that or Alt Z, so go into a solid ghost view. So you can be face mode, B, change to individual origins. I didn't mean to select them, so middle mouse button on the B, the scale Y, can make those thicker. And there you go. So that's just a revisit of making a simple water tank. The beauty of this thing is it is all quads, so if I then apply subdivision to it, while you do need to sort out these points here because you need to tighten up the loops, the rest of the main body is really tidy. But if you start off with a subdivision of 4 anyway, then you've got plenty of detail compared to that one. Again, that Alt V is another hard ops option. If you can afford hard ops and box cutter, I recommend you get them. If you can't, you can do it natively, but they do make life a lot easier. Same with Mesh Machine. So that's it. That's a sort of an updated version of that old video, and I hope it's of use to someone.